At the beginning of the story, we see Henry, a man who is way too simple and straight, working his night shift at a toll booth. His face clearly showed that his life was going completely colorless. In the morning, when he reached home, his wife told him, "You don't love me anymore, do you? I remember when you did. Things used to be very different." While they were still talking, suddenly there was a loud knock on the door. When Henry opened it, his friend Eddie was standing there. Along with him was a man named Joe, who looked to be in a very bad condition. Joe kept vomiting again and again. Debbie, Henry's wife, was a nurse, so she brought Joe inside to help him. Then Eddie told Henry, "Bro, today is his basketball team's match. Since he's in this condition, he can't play. Why don't you play instead?" Henry tried to refuse, but Eddie still managed to drag him along, dressing him in the team jersey. Henry asked, "Where's the game being played?" Eddie replied, "Not far from here, just 15 minutes. Soon Eddie asked Henry to stop the car and said, "We'll be back in just a bit. We're just going to grab some food and drinks. You just sit here and keep the engine running, okay?" But as they left, Eddie and two other men, whom Henry didn't even know, put on masks. All three of them pulled out guns and ran inside a bank. Poor Henry had no idea that Eddie and his friends had come to rob the bank, and that he was their getaway driver. To make things worse, the car itself was stolen, hot-wired to start. A little while later, the three men came running out of the bank. At that moment, one of the security guards noticed Henry. Since Henry was wearing the same kind of t-shirt as the robbers, the guard assumed he was part of the gang and caught him. The police interrogated Henry, asking him to reveal the names of his accomplices. But apart from Eddie, Henry didn't know anyone. He was so naive that he didn't even mention Eddie's name, thinking, "Whatever he is, he's still my friend." Because of that, Henry was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted bank robbery. In prison, Henry met Max. Max was very friendly towards him. The next day at breakfast, Max said, "Every prisoner here once had dreams. But then something unfortunate happened in their lives, and they ended up here." "So, what's your dream?" Henry replied, "I don't have any dream." Hearing this, Max said, "Not having any dream at all is the biggest crime. Tell me, what's your dream?" Henry repeated the same answer. Max then told him, "What's the point of living a life with no dream?" 6 months passed like this. Debbie came to meet Henry in prison and told him, "I need to tell you something important. I've fallen in love with someone else." But Henry, with a big heart, replied, "That's okay. I just want you to be happy. If you can't stay with me, then at least you should be with someone who makes you happy." Meanwhile, Max had become so used to prison that it felt like home to him. One day, the inmates were gossiping, asking Max, "What did you tell the parole officer last time when he asked what you'd do if you got released?" Max calmly replied, "I told him I'd break into his house, kill his dog, set his house on fire, and cut out the tongue of every living thing inside." Later, someone asked Henry, "When's your parole review?" He replied, "Next month." Another prisoner said, "Everyone here believes Henry is innocent." Henry said, "I haven't committed any crime." To which Max responded, "It doesn't matter what you say. Once you've spent time in prison, the world outside will always believe you did something wrong." Soon after, Henry was finally released. The first thing he did was go to meet Debbie. But when Joe opened the door, Henry was shocked. On top of that, Debbie was now pregnant with Joe's child. Seeing all this, Henry quietly realized how drastically his life had changed. Debbie showed Henry all his belongings and asked, "So what are you planning to do now?" Henry didn't answer. Just then, Joe came and offered Henry a business proposal, thanking him for not mentioning his name in court. But Henry simply said, "I didn't even know your name," and silently walked away. Later, Henry went and stood in front of the same bank where all this had begun. But suddenly, a car hit him, and he fell to the ground. The car was being driven by a woman named Julie. She scolded Henry badly and then asked, "Are you okay?" At that moment, the bank guard also arrived and told Henry they should call an ambulance. But Henry refused. Instead, the guard supported him and took him to a nearby cafe. Julie also followed them inside. There, Henry said to Julie, "I've seen you somewhere before." Julie replied, "Don't look at me. Just watch the road while walking." And with that, she left. When Henry went to the bathroom, he noticed a newspaper clipping stuck on the wall. It was an 80-year-old article about a bank robbery. The robbery had been done through an underground tunnel that connected the bank to a theater located behind it. The tunnel ran directly under the bank's vault. After seeing this, Henry immediately went back to meet Max in prison and told him, "I've finally found my dream. My dream is to rob the same bank because it's for that very bank that I ended up here. If I'm going to do the time, I should at least do the crime for real." Max didn't quite understand, so Henry explained further. "Will you help me rob that bank?" Max asked. "Do you even have a plan, or are you just dreaming in the air?" Henry replied, "Don't worry. I've got a top-class plan." After this, Henry went to the theater, where Julie happened to be rehearsing for her play. While Julie was rehearsing her play, her director scolded her badly, saying, "You're not cut out for this. You can't do it." Upset, Julie stormed off to grab some coffee. On her way out, she snapped at Henry. "You're not following me, are you?" Henry denied it, but still ended up following her to the coffee shop. While sipping coffee, Henry started complimenting Julie on her acting. Julie then said, "Thanks for not filing a complaint about that accident." Meanwhile, in prison, Max had also applied for parole. After answering a few questions, he too was granted release. Henry had already coached him on how to behave in front of the officers. When Henry came to pick him up outside the prison, Max asked, "Where's your car?" Henry admitted, "I don't have a car. I walked here." Hearing this, Max got furious. "What the hell? Which idiot did I get myself out of jail for? Send me back inside. I don't want to be out here." But once Henry explained his plan, Max was shocked and said, "This is your plan? The exact same way the bank was robbed 80 years ago? Do you even have guns or anything?" Henry refused, saying, "I don't want to hurt anyone." Max replied sarcastically, "Yeah, sure, Mother Teresa, that's real nice. But what if, after the last robbery, the bank people moved the vault? What if it's no longer above the tunnel?" To find out, they went to the bank and met the assistant manager. As they entered, the security guard kept a close eye on them. While chatting, Max cleverly confirmed that the bank's vault had never been moved since the day the bank was built. He did it so smartly that the manager didn't suspect a thing. But the guards still kept watching them. Afterward, the two went to the theater to check out the tunnel. Julie was surprised to see Henry there again, and this time with Max. But before she could ask anything, Max quickly spoke up. "When I was young, I performed in many plays here. I just wanted to show Henry this place. You don't mind if I take a look inside, do you?" As they went in, Julie asked Max, "Which plays did you perform here?" Max immediately replied, "Shakespeare." He then added, "I have so many memories here. I want to see every corner of this theater." He got permission to roam freely. While someone from the theater staff was showing Max around, they led him near the hidden tunnel door. Max carefully inspected it. Meanwhile, Julie asked Henry what he did for a living. Henry bluntly replied, "I just got out of prison. Right now, I don't do anything." Julie was shocked. "Prison? Why? Did you commit murder or something?" Henry said, "It's a long story. I'll tell you some other time." They then planned to meet again for dinner that evening. At home, Max told Henry that the tunnel led through a wall in the green room. "So, whatever happens, we need to get control of that green room," he said. But Henry was more focused on getting ready for his date with Julie. He asked Max, "How do I look?" Max laughed and replied, "You look just like yourself, as always. Now go enjoy your date. We'll do the planning later." During their dinner date, Julie told Henry, "I want to become a great actress. I want everyone to know my name." During their conversation, Henry opened up and told her the entire truth, how he ended up in prison, and how now he truly wanted to rob the bank. Julie was shocked by his plan, but she was beginning to like Henry's company. They returned home together, and their closeness grew much deeper. The next morning, Henry and Julie went to Max's place. But Max wasn't happy to see Julie. Henry reassured him, "Don't worry, she's working with us." Max, however, pulled Henry aside angrily, asking, "Why did you tell her the whole plan?" Later, while eating, Julie asked Max, "What were you in prison for?" Max casually replied, "I've killed several people." Shocked, Julie asked, "You committed so many murders? Weren't you afraid of getting caught?" Max said, "I like going to prison. It's my favorite place." As Henry and Julie headed to the theater later, they got an idea. "Why don't we organize auditions here? That way, we can spend as much time inside as we want. But soon Max came up with his own idea. Why don't we kick out the actor who owns that green room and give the role to Henry instead? Then we can keep digging without anyone suspecting. Henry protested. But I don't know how to act. Max hyped him up. Look at your face, you're a natural actor. No one can do better than you. And besides, it's the lead role. Not long after, the current actor suddenly quit, saying he got a big movie offer. In reality, Max had tricked him. When Julie found out, she got furious. Are you guys trying to ruin my career too? Henry auditioned anyway, and surprisingly, he got selected. Now things were getting easier for them to complete their job. But within a day or two, they realized that digging the tunnel was not something just two people could handle. So they decided to involve Joe in the plan. After a lot of convincing, Joe finally agreed. But the moment he saw the tunnel, Joe said, "Why bother with all this? Just take a gun, walk in, and rob the bank straight away." To this, Max replied, "We're not idiots like you. We're not doing some stupid robbery." Slowly, the work began moving forward. Alongside the digging, Henry was also staying fully dedicated to his acting role. Now, Henry wasn't just after money. He wanted to do something new with his life. One night, while heading home after work, Henry was stopped by the same bank guard who had arrested him earlier. The guard said, "You're the one who was with the bank robbers, right? And I've seen you sneaking around the back of the bank, going into the theater. This time I won't let anything shady happen." Henry asked the guard to come with him, and then drove to a quiet spot. Henry asked, "What is it that you really want?" The guard, whose name was Frank, explained, "Once a month, a truck goes around collecting currency from our partner banks. At that time, more than 100 crores are stored in this bank's vault. Only a fool would try robbing the bank at any other time. I can be your inside man and help you with the alarm system." The next day, during Julie's emotional crying scene in rehearsal, the director interrupted. "You've never been in love, have you? Your heart's never been broken. That's your problem. Without those feelings, you'll never become a great actress." The rehearsal broke for 5 minutes, and Julie rushed to the bathroom, crying. Henry asked, "Are you okay?" Julie broke down completely and said, "Yes, it's true, I've never been in love. What do I do? But I have to become an actress." Henry told her, "You do love someone, you love me. You just don't realize it yet. And I'm sure you'll become a great actress." Then, the two of them leaned closer and kissed. That night, Henry and Max were finalizing the robbery plan when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Henry opened it and saw Joe standing there with Eddie. Joe looked badly beaten up. Eddie immediately said, "Joe told me everything, and now I'm part of your plan too." But Max instantly disliked Eddie. He asked Henry, "Who's this clown?" Eddie boasted, "I know everything already, which means you have no choice now but to let me in." Max asked again, "Will someone please tell me who the hell this idiot is?" Eddie snapped back angrily, "I'm in this plan, and you're out, old man." Max told him to leave right away. But Eddie mocked him again, calling him old man, which finally pushed Max over the edge. He charged at Eddie to beat him up, but Henry somehow managed to break them apart. The next day, when Max and Henry went to the theater, they learned that their show was only a few days away. Both of them got worried. Henry said, "I don't think we'll be able to go through with the robbery now." The truth was, he had fallen in love with Julie and didn't want to run away after a robbery because that would mean leaving her behind. Max grabbed Henry and said, "You pulled me out of prison for this, to help you. And now you're backing out? I've spent my whole life just talking. I've been locked up for years. Now that I'm finally out, I'm going to make sure I do something big before I go." That night, Henry met Julie and confessed, "We have to rob the bank on opening night of the play. After that, I'll run away to California. You're headed to Hollywood anyway, you'll meet me there, right?" But hearing this, Julie exploded in anger. "If you were going to leave, why did you make me believe in love? You just used me to get inside the theater. I'm not meeting you anywhere. My mistake was falling in love with a thief." Finally, the big day arrived, both the play and the bank heist. The play's director told the actors, "This is your day. Go out there and leave your mark. We've only got 10 minutes left." At that same time, the money truck arrived at the bank, just as Frank had described. Henry kept performing on stage, waiting for the right moment, and then slipped away to help his team. Everything was going as planned. First, they broke through the brick wall using tools. Then, with a huge welding machine, they cut through the steel of the vault, making a large hole. Thanks to Frank, who had already cut the wires, the alarm didn't go off. But suddenly, Eddie turned on them. He pointed his gun at Max and told him to get out. He ordered Joe. Hurry up, load all the money into the van. Joe didn't like Eddie's betrayal and tried to stop him. Don't do this, brother, it's not right. Just then, Henry arrived. Eddie tried to scare him too and even struck Max with the gun, knocking him down. Joe kept begging him to stop. But Max suddenly wrestled the gun out of Eddie's hand and started beating him. In the struggle, a shot went off, grazing Henry's leg. Meanwhile, Henry's cue in the play was coming up. Limping from the wound, he still rushed back to the stage to perform his scene. After thoroughly thrashing Eddie, Max tied his hands, feet, and mouth. Then, Henry, Max, and Joe loaded up all the money and fled. But suddenly, Henry asked them to stop the car. Joe and Max were confused. Henry told them, "You two go ahead. I'll meet you later." Joe asked Max, "Where did he go?" Max replied, "Forget about him. Just drive." Henry, meanwhile, ran back toward the theater. Julie was performing on stage. Limping, he climbed onto the stage and confessed in front of everyone, "I can't leave you. I really love you, and I can't live without you." Coincidentally, the play's scene mirrored the exact same emotions, so the audience thought it was part of the performance. They were impressed and waited eagerly for Julie's response. The director dimmed the lights and whispered to Julie, "Say yes." At that moment, Julie too realized that Henry truly loved her. After a long silence, she didn't say yes out loud, but her expressions said everything. And just like that, the hero got the heroine. As for the money? Well, he got that too. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.